know what time it is? It's peak time. Thank you to our final patrons, Strawbones, Aaron, and Black Wolf. What's up, guys? I got Pencil here, and here we are to do a live reaction to chapter 189 of Blue Lock, which is known as Yes Boss. And before we hop into this live reaction, breakdown, and review, please, if you ever leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. You can support for as low as $1 a month. Get exclusive videos, early content, and more. Now, let's hop into the live reaction. Enemy, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, you've got to be kidding me. Reo and Nagi are totally in sync right now. Yeah, that is kind of their dynamic now. Which is, I'm still a bit mixed on it. Like, it's not the worst thing out there, don't get me wrong. Like, it's cool to have these two who were presented as a package deal early on in the narrative to come back as a package deal and present more of a threat than they do individually. But I think, once again, I kind of mentioned this last live reaction, but I think a big thing that's going to hold this duo back is just the lack of dynamism. Like, by being so reliant on that duo, all you need to do is stop one. You stop Reo, which we saw, and the thing is, the crazy thing is we saw this weakness all the way back in the initial battle against Reo and Nagi. All you need to do is stop Reo, stuff him with someone with high stamina, decent enough reaction speed, and some fancy footwork, bada bing, bada boom, look at Raichi, and you can negate Reo. I don't think that's changed that much. Sure, he's a chameleon, so he's better at it than he was before. Like, now he can pull out the Seitoshi and be like, ah, like he can weave. But still, obviously, at a higher level, there are going to be a lot of Seitoshis. So you can expect people to counter that. Even Ness, I think, is going to be able to grow to counter it in this game if it lasts long enough. Then, on top of that, if Nagi can't get the ball, what's he going to do? He can't create his own way to get the ball. He can't dive in there. He's too lazy to. He doesn't have the creativity. So I think this duo is going to be held back infinitely because the limit of their potential is so clearly defined. Like, the lack of dynamism that you would get from a Sei and a Shido, a Rin and a Nagi, I guess a Rin and a Nagi, but even then, no, not a Rin and a Nagi, a Rin and Isagi, a Boro and Isagi and a Bachira. Like, the combinations you can get by having two inherently creative football masters essentially together is exponentially higher than having one guy who knows football and the other guy who just happens to be instinctively good at it. Because you can have both. That's the thing. You're missing that extra little bit of sauce there. Shido is naturally good at football, but he's also good at football. Like, he has mental knowledge of it. He's been playing it. Sei is the same thing. He's good at football, naturally, but on top of that, he's trained his mind and is good at it as a midfielder. Thusly, he can create infinitely more combinations with Shido, just like Shido can create infinitely more combinations with Sei. It leads to an ever-evolving process. Meanwhile, with Rin and Nagi, it's kind of like, Reo can create plans. Nagi can execute plans. You stop Reo, you inadvertently stop Nagi. Meanwhile, you may be able to stop Sei, but you have a fat chance of stopping Shido. You may be able to stop Baro, but you have a fat chance of stopping Isagi. These characters are better than this duo, and you can just mix and match them randomly. These two are reliant on each other. And I think that's going to be their biggest downfall. Remember what Ego said at the very beginning. There can only be one. The rest of you can be supporting actors, just as Baro said, but there can only be one striker. So, I don't know. I don't see it lasting too long. However, let's get back into it. Those two aren't really on speaking terms with each other. If those two link up, we're in some serious trouble. How would I voice Isagi? How would I voice? I think, honestly, ironically enough, I think Isagi would just be my voice. Like, I don't know why. Like, usually every other character, like, even Meliodas, I alter my voice a bit. I'd say Bond, definitely alter my voice. I'm trying to think of other series I review. Ichidori, I'd alter my voice. But, like, for Isagi, it'd kind of just be like, hey, you've got to be kidding me. Nagi, it would be more dramatized, though. I guess that's the only difference. I don't know. That's weird. I guess because me and Isagi are the same. Not kidding. But Yeah, it is cool though that Isagi does think back to the last time he's really seen these two interact and link up. They didn't. It was in the second selection where Nagi literally looked at Braille and was like, "Your booty. I want the other man. His booty's better." And then they followed. Then they walked away. They went their separate ways. So it's cool to see Isagi noting that. And you could argue that Isagi should know that they have somewhat of a better connection based on the U20 interaction. But even then, that was such a quick, lightning fast interaction that was just may have been for the game. That may have been just been business. But now these two seem to be less about the business and more about just getting it done. So I guess that is about the business. But still, the dynamic that Isagi remembers here is cool, and I'm glad that that's being brought up. It's being acknowledged as a thing that other characters would notice, not just something that these two would have to resolve and have a chapter to discuss about. It's great. However, let me take a quick look. Let me analyze who's in the background right here. Because remember, Bluelock is a series where you gotta pay attention to these background characters because while Nomura may try to trick you with the foreground characters, like, oh, look who's here. Well, only these guys are here. He's even done it in this game where characters will appear where you didn't think they were unless you were paying attention to the background. So look who's here. We have Corona and Yukimaya. I think we're going to focus on the Corona Isagi duo here. I think that's what we're going to get. But Yukimaya, he's probably going to do something in the future. If not this chapter, next chapter. I can tell just by where he is positioned and how far in the background he is. Because Yusuke does a great job of placing characters so that they will be relevant and they can be relevant in the future. I like it. All right, let's go. I've got to crush them by using my meta. I still can't. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I love the whole concept of metavision, and I think it's really, really cool. But like, I get all those like power of my eye. It's overwhelming me. Like, I don't know. I take it seriously. Obviously, I think it's a cool power up, but at the same time, it's still funny. However, a thing I do have to admit here, this kind of feeds back into my whole point about the limited dynamism of these two. Metavision obviously has limits. We see it when two Metavision users clash. We've seen that repeatedly. Kaiser is able to straight zoom and intercept Isagi's Metavision because he was also using Metavision. Metavision is such a word to say, but his Metavision allowed him to see through Isagi's Metavision, which allowed him to stop Isagi's goal. But then he and Isagi, in a case where neither had the ball, clashed with their Metavision. So thusly, they ended up at the same spot and causing problems for each other because they couldn't sync up. So you can see that Metavision is an amp that is strong enough to manipulate the battlefield. But in this case, it still is fresh. Isagi is not used to using it. I bet he could hypothetically pull off a play that Kaiser pulled, getting in Kaiser's way for a Kaiser impact, hypothetically, but Kaiser's able to do that instantly because of his more experience. So my point here is that if Reo and Nagi get stopped by its very inexperienced, like, remember, in verse, my computer was streaming, but in verse, the time period for when Isagi unlocked Metavision is probably no more than 10 minutes ago, if that. Like, legitimately, he just unlocked it. So if this new combination of an amped Reo and arguably a slightly amped Nagi, the thing is, Nagi, if Reo did develop, I mean, I guess both of them are amped physically, but mentally, Nagi's kind of lacking in amp. That's one of the biggest issues of this reconnection. Like, Reo got a physical amp, and Nagi got a physical amp because Chris Prince just trained them in what they were good at. Like, oh, okay, we got to train these muscles and this muscles, bada bing, bada boom. So then we get with Chigiri. But the thing is, Reo got a mental amp because now he's studying and using both the Toshi brothers as a basis. Meanwhile, Nagi's kind of just the same. He's just playing instinctively, which is not bad, but it's not as good as it could be. Why do you scream so violently? Why? I just want to record. But for those who wonder why I don't use OBS, if you think my computer is loud now, you do not want to hear it when OBS is running. But regardless, another thing I do have to like is how due to the delving of the deep dive, the girth of how hard they're going into their egos is sort of just overflowing with them more. Like, note, Reo, while not really doing anything but moving the ball, already starting to be taken over by the copy of Rin or Sei, whichever one it's going to be. And Nagi just running once again, getting ready. He's already summoning part of the ghoul. Like every character in Blue Lock that's had some sort of major revelation or has done something usually has a sort of symbol that's around them that cloaks them. Isagi has the puzzle pieces. You can even see it in his eyes. Reo has the chameleon aspect, the weird copy fragment square things. Nagi has the darkness that envelops him, the ghoulish nature, but Shira has the monster itself. And you have even someone like Kunigami, someone who doesn't have a full ego development. He's constantly being surrounded by the playing cards because he's the Blue Lock Joker. Speaking of not joking, the like button and subscribe button are free. So I really appreciate if you hit both of those because they help the channel out a lot, they help the video out a lot, and they help me out a lot. So thank you. But with all that being the case, I like how these characters, just to show their growth and development, these aren't coming out in just like strict flash moments like they do usually. They're more and more becoming part of the characters. The closer and closer they get to their ego, the more and more they get consumed by it on a visual level and not just a mental level, which I think is great. I think it's great. It's nice little details. It makes me wonder what other characters' ego highlights are going to be. Like, I don't think the playing card thing is going to be permanent for Kunigami. I think he's going to have some sort of development that's going to evolve his into what? I don't know. What Yukimaya's is going to be. I don't know. What Raichi, I don't know. I just named a random name. But that's the thing. So many other characters have yet to have their egotistical awakenings. So I'm waiting and excited to see what theirs will be, because I don't think any of them have really overlapped. The only hypothetical overlap I could see is like, yeah, even then, Sei had his own ego, the numbers. And you could argue that Nagi and Rin's overlaps, but I wouldn't say so. Nagi's is much more spiritual, ghoulish, darkness. Meanwhile, Rin's dark aura seems to be more like skeleton, monster, beast. Like, that's what they're similar, but not the same, which makes me excited for other characters. But I'm on page 2. Let's keep moving. Okay. So he flickered on. This is definitely Sei. You can tell by the footwork. It's too fancy and quick. He's specifically going for a mix-up here so he can get further down the field. He's playing a midfielder right now, not necessarily a striker. Corona. All right. We can see Corona was already set up right in front. Wow. Corona cleared that distance. Yukimaya was right in front of them. But then again, Corona is fast. That's the thing. He has an essence speed. So he's here, and I love the mix-up here, right? Because you can see Reo is keeping eyes locked, meaning he's at best doing this with the ball, like just glancing downward, acknowledging where it is, and then batting it back and forth between his feet. And he's essentially like asking Corona, like, okay, left, right, up, down, backwards, forwards, down, left, right, like which way am I inputting this cheat code? And I think it's really cool to see, and it's cool to see that Corona's like, nope. And okay, so what Reo does here to get the mix up, kicks it seemingly to the right. And interesting though, like we don't get to see what Corona's footwork here is, but I'm assuming his right, like Reo kicking it to his right, would have pushed Corona to his left, meaning his ankle. And let's see, can we even see it here? I mean, you can kind of see it in the fact that a lot of the weight is on his left leg, as if he was about to pivot and push off his right foot. And you can see Reo immediately kicks it left, beats himself to the ball, or beats the ball's moving path so he can kick it to the side of Corona. Meanwhile, Corona is still trying to turn and adjust his center of gravity. I think that's great. It's cool to see that level of mix up here. And we get to see Reo, once again, still purely in his ego with the copying. Notably, now he lost his, though. Interesting. But okay. So Reo kicks it over to Nagi. Nagi, once again, traps it. Oh, no. Nagi, it's a tap pass. So this is super bad. Their 1-2 passes are friggin' insane. Yeah, because, interesting. Once again, it's natural. It's the playoff of Nagi's skill that's inherent versus Reo's planning. Because with the high-speed pass, he can pretty much kick it anywhere in Nagi's direction, and Nagi will get it back to him. And then, let's see, those two are in total sync. What's with those two? How did they get strong all of a sudden? Shut up and focus. So this does reveal that despite these guys being high-level players, they do not have metavision. You can just tell. Because they're being thrown off. Meanwhile, Kaiser's just like, it's not that deep. And once again, that goes to show you. a character like Kaiser, someone with metavision, someone who's of that higher tier, is seeing something that seems complex to people hey, like me. I'm gonna do this mess, and other people on his team of his level, supposedly. But you can see the higher level skill. He's like, it's nothing. We can beat this. Which once again goes to show, hypothetically, this thing could run into some walls, could run into some limits. This duo, I'm just saying. But let's see. Just stop them. Okay, interesting. So Yukimaya is once again behind them. He's bringing up the rear, and these two are forced. Okay, Nagi, to think that an unmotivated guy like you, a guy who got everything's whole drag, would start saying, "I have a dream. We split up once." Yeah, I guess. But how would y'all feel about that, right? Like me personally, I wouldn't let that slide. Nah. But in actuality, like, if someone were to tell me, I have a dream, I'm willing to help you, but I'm not willing to subjugate my own. But I guess technically Rayo isn't subjugating his own dream, because as long as he uses Nagi, he can get to the World Cup. But like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent thing here. I can't. It's such an oddly specific situation. I can't think of an equivalency here. But would you sacrifice yourself, your own individuality, to become part of someone else's dream? Maybe if it was really necessary, I guess, and I know it would benefit me in the long run, I suppose. But like, just if you were to just ask me that off rip, like, hey, you want to become part of someone else's dream? I'm like, oh, part as in like I'm part of the goal they want to reach. No, you're gonna work for their dream. Like, you wanted to be X, but you are now going to be forced to be Y because you are not allowed to do anything outside of support person A. I don't know. I don't think I'd be down for that. But Rayo seems to be. He has fully allowed himself to be consumed by Nagi's ego. And I guess it makes sense. When you're nothing but a copycat, what did you really plan to do? That's the thing. It's such a dark way to take Rayo's character. And I know it's not being presented that way. It's not being presented that way at all. And I may just be looking too deep. Like, these are two, I think at most 17-year-olds just playing soccer together, having a good old time. But like, when I see this, I see a man who could not find anything of his own to make his own, and on the verge of creating something new by fusing two things that were once original, now has subjugated himself to someone else who is too lazy to create anything of their own. And like, he's literally being picked up and used again. Like, what happens if he bores Nagi again? Legitimately. Like, these two just happen to be on the same team this time. But that's the thing. Rayo is replaceable. Nagi more so isn't. Though I think Nagi, because like put Rayo with anybody else, and the dynamism is better. Sure, you're losing Nagi's potential there, and Nagi has insane potential. But if he's too lazy to get it himself, I don't think you get much out of that. You need people who push each other, and unfortunately, I don't think they're synced up perfectly because they're not challenging each other. They aren't doing any crazy things. One of my favorite moments from the U20 is when Shido gets the free kick because Nico kicked him. And Shido's like, yo, I got this kick. It's all me, baby. It's all me. I'm about to kick this ball super hard. And Seiya's like, I mean, you could. But hypothetically, if you were to not kick that ball that hard and rather put yourself into a position where there is simultaneously the most interesting and optimal point, maybe you could do something better. And that's the thing. They challenged each other. Shido, in the end of the game, admittedly, called out to Seiya and was like, why didn't you just pass up to me? Like, why didn't you do this? You could have done better. And that's what you get out of you get proper chemical reactions out of that. You get explosive growth. Meanwhile, with these two, they're perfectly synced, but that's it. They're not going to be able to rip out more from each other. And I think it's not juicy enough. It's not good enough. It's not going to last. But who knows? We'll see. Once again, yeah, answer that question in the comments section down below. Would y'all be willing to subjugate yourself for someone else's dream? Let me know. Well, and to be fair, I like I said, this, just as the manga is not characterizing this as a bad thing yet, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. Other people like to follow other people's dreams. In fact, I think I could argue that I'm part of someone else's dream, literally just part, and like kind of serving their own end. But getting rid of my own dream is something I don't think I would do. To quote Blackbeard, dreams never die. Gosh darn it. And no, I haven't read One Piece yet. Don't get on my case. But let's see. We followed different paths. I was frustrated. I resented you. That is still to this day one of the ugliest panels that Blue Lock has ever produced. It's still a good panel artistically. Don't get me wrong. And once again, I realize I need to say this disclaimer every single time I critique art. But one, the like button is free, and so is the subscribe button. So I really appreciate if you hit both of those because they help the channel out a lot. They help me out a lot, and they help the video out a lot. Thank you. But once again, I've said it once, and I'll say it every single time. Whenever I critique a manga's art or a mangaka's art, know this, my friends. I'm fodder. I'm fodder. This is what I can produce in like an hour and a half. Like I can't do it. I'm not as good. However, because I'm hold on. Where is one? Hold on. Since I'm something of a guy with a pencil myself, I think I'm allowed to critique. So I will admit this panel's just ugly. I don't know. Something about that shot never worked for me. But still. We followed different paths. I was frustrated. I resented you. I resolved to move on by myself, which was good. You grow. You evolve. You face it. Why do I? So, fun fact: I like to voice act for fun. Shock horror, and thusly, I've picked up a lot of voices over the years, whether that be accents entirely transformed. Like, this is my regular voice. This is my Omega Deep voice. This is nothing. And this is the limits. Like, oh my god. Like that is a voice I can talk in normally. Like, it's just a thing I can do. It's kind of the Elmo voice. Elmo says read Blue Lock, or else Elmo will find you. But the thing is, because of that, and because of how much it's kind of like ingratiated itself into a part of who I am, it's become part of my dream. It's the voices come out kind of naturally, like shifts in tone and stuff like that. It even happens in regular conversation. So it'd be like I'm doing that sometimes. I just want to explain. Whenever I shift into a voice, it's natural, usually. But yeah, the main thing is here, like, dog. You were on a better path. Individuality is something that every human needs. Like, we are social creatures, don't get me wrong, but I feel like individuality is important. So Nagi forcing you to be an individual was good. So the fact that you're regressing is kind of like, I guess, do whatever you want. But let's see, maybe he's going to have some sort of reflection here. But maybe all that was for this moment. The words are the reason I can get back up again and again. Ever since you went and played football, we've been together. Yeah. If it fails, I think it works. I'm especially because the thing is, Blue Lock is all about individuality. That's what it is about. So for Rayo to sacrifice it, I'm chewing on it. And it's like, I get it. It's kind of smacking, but it has a funky aftertaste. Like, like if this is the lesson he's learned after all this time of being alone and being forced to grow on his own. Like, I got my calories out of it, but it's not the ultimate satisfactory meal, if you ask me. Why am I always making food comparisons? Is it just a part? I think I'm just always hungry. I ask y'all with food-based codes at the end of everything. I compare everything to food. I need help. No, but let's hop right back in there. I don't know. I still feel a little bit off about this. Reason I can get back up in again. It's all thanks to you, Nagi. If we're together, I feel we can achieve anything. You know what? I guess it's good for them. Rayo specifically. Because you know what? This actually works. because we don't know much about Nagi's backstory. Ironically enough, he was just a kid that was sitting on the stairs one time that trapped his phone, and bada bing, bada boom, he was the greatest soccer player to ever soccer player. But for Rayo, we knew he always felt lonely in life. Like, he was the best at everything. He was good looking. There was no struggle in his eyes. So I suppose finding someone better than him. Yeah, you know what? Ironically enough, this is going to be a weird link, but this is kind of like Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses. She for the longest time was the best of the best, the cream of the crop. She was the empress. Like, you can't challenge the empress. She was top dog. Like, there's nothing you could really do. So she was always lonely. So when the professor came into her life and was like, "Oh, look at this person who's better at me in everything," naturally, I could just sit back and chill. So I guess for Rayo, for the kind of lonely person he was, meeting somebody better, growing stronger beneath them is what they really, really want and need in life. So I give it that. Yeah, we'll let it slide. Holy booty meat. Rayo's getting super good. Nagi, how do you know? I mean, I guess you can just tell by the movements. But like, Nagi, you know nothing. That's the whole point of you. You're just an empty vessel to be filled with Rayo's ideas. Everything goes back to Kingdom. It's either Kingdom Hearts or food with me. I don't know. You wait till I get my gosh darn Keyblade. Wait till I summon that bad boy. One day I'll literally just... I always jokingly like hold out my hand to like force pull something to me. Wait till I just summon a Keyblade. Wait for it. But he knows exactly where I want the ball to come. I know exactly what he wants me to do. Yep, here. This is nice. Yeah, it's and Nagi feels like your potential. Like, I mean, I guess it's like a two-way street. Like, I don't know about y'all. I have a homie, a brother from another mother, if you will. And there are many a time where I know for a fact we are kind of low-key the same individual. We have the same thought processes. We have the same ideas. We have the same being in general. And thusly, it naturally feeds into the fact that, we're kind of bonded on a mental level. Soul bond. So I get this scenario where now he's like, I just feel relaxed. Like, this is perfect. Like, I know he knows where I need to go. He knows where I want to go. He knows how the ball should come. He knows everything. So I get that dynamic and I get how comfortable that is. But you need to get out of the comfort zone. You need to get better. You can't be lazy and stick back. If you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to get uncomfortable. Unless you're already the best version of yourself. I think that's literally impossible. But in that case, more power to you, I guess. I don't know. But it's interesting to see how this is their solution. This is their calm zone. This is nice. But let's see if it loses. If it loses to Isagi or Kaiser, it goes to show that there's either a lot of growth to be done by these two, or maybe this isn't the proper path. Let's see. It feels amazing. See, it is cool. This is the me that's like individuality, ego, becoming the best, uniqueness, versus the me that's like, wow, I feel very, very happy for these fictional characters. Like, he's having fun. He's enjoying himself. So I can't knock the hustle, really. I can't knock the hustle. Okay, so a high flying pass. Right now, let's go right on. This is amazing. Get past the last one. Bouncing through ball. Okay. So let me just break down this movement sequence, because that's one of my favorite things about bluelock, is just go through and figure out the movement tracking. So, okay. I have to go back. Okay, so first Rayo opens up with Corona, breaks past him going to the left, hits the 1-2 pass to get past these two defenders. Kaiser and this guy are up here, leaving them open. Another guy charges up, and then we have these two in this moment. Rayo still has the ball. Nagi and him are right next to each other. They branch off. Okay, Rayo gets around this guy by turning in with a full body press. Almost like Tokimitsu and Neo did this both. Actually, Neo didn't necessarily do it. Neo did the opposite. He sort of body blocked you so you couldn't turn around. But Rayo's kind of like folding in and guiding the ball around, does a full rotation around him, forces it so that he can't automatically get him back, passes the ball up to Nagi, who broke away. Nagi catches the ball. Oh wait, no. So then Rayo gets it in his hand. The guy does manage to turn to block his left leg, but he has enough room to kick it. Nagi jumps. So Nagi did break away here. You can see that here. He jumps in the air, traps it with his chest, and then immediately sends it back to Rayo, who is admittedly looks like he's still covered here. But he bounces it back to Rayo. And then before Homeboy can even really stop the ball, Rayo, instead of trapping it or anything, he kind of midfield direct shots it, bounces it off back towards Nagi. And that's the thing. These two are playing high speed, which I get. You know, you want to keep throwing off the defenders. But this is, I guess when you're perfectly in sync, you can do like tight coordination stuff like this. That is so, like, these guys literally have zero margin for error right now. That's how tight their passes and motions are being, which is good. Once again, that shows the rigidity. If someone can figure out the limits of your potential and the limits of what you can do, they can react in time. But let's see. Fun fact: the like button, screen, so subscribe button. So I really appreciate if you hit both of those. Thank you. I'm sorry, I keep plugging it because it helps the channel a lot. It helps me a lot. And trust me, y'all know how happy it makes me to have comments and have likes and have a channel. So thank you guys for every time you do that. Trust me, I appreciate it more than you know. But okay, flick back, bouncing through ball, something like that. Okay, so it looks like, if I had to guess, Nagi's probably going to have to trap this one with his outside foot and or send it ahead of him with a back heel, because it looks like it's too high. So he'd either have to do like the flying trap that he did if he wants to slow it down. But even then, at that angle, it looks like it has to be an over the head heel back tap. And then again, it looks slower here. Let's see. Then, yep, a back tap. Well, it was kind of interesting. So it was, so he did end up going with the back heel, but he let it in with a trap directly on his back, let it roll down, threw his arm forward so he wouldn't get the handball. That's crazy. Threw his arm forward so he wouldn't get the handball, but ended up guiding it down his back in just a way that he could use his back right heel and send it forward. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I want to light it up right now. All right. I'm sorry. And there go, my treasure. I mean, whatever. I'm sure that this is R. Look, yes! Yeah, that's that. Bruh. You know what? Oh, we double worthy, baby. Oh, we double worthy. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see right there. That's what I like to see. That is what I like to see right there. Beautiful. 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 Yo. This is the best chapter all week. I like the JJK chapter a lot now that I've thought about it more. Nah, this is a different kind of peak though. This is a different kind of peak though. But look what I'm saying. These two beings who are able to read the limits of their opponent's potential, because there is no spontaneity. They know exactly what their opponents can do with their metavision, can cancel out this duo. No matter how in sync, no matter how dynamic, they know. Two of them. Someone as strong as Kaiser and someone as quote-unquote weak as Isagi, they can stop it. So I may just be spitting. I may just be spitting. Slobber everywhere. That sounds so disgusting. I'm sorry. But, okay, yeah. But I love the look at Kaiser's face here. He can't just disregard Isagi anymore. He's like, get away. It's mine. Because he's now realized Isagi is on the same playing field. Isagi can reach the same spots. Isagi is now a threat. I love the development. I'm sorry. I'm getting too high. Shut up. This is my meta point. Huh? What? You gotta be kidding me? These two actually read our movements? Yes! Because your movements, they have limits. They're basic. But Interesting. While I was right, they were predictable enough that they could reach that Isagi and Kaiser could both read them and reach them. It seems like Nagi's going to maybe use his new evolution. He's going to do something different. Maybe he's going to bring the spontaneity to this relationship that I didn't think he was going to be able to. We'll see. Because you can see Rayo's broken here. He's shocked. But Nagi calms down. A back heel pass. Okay, so he's still relying on Rego. Rego? Rego Maego? No, but he's still relying on Rayo here. Okay, interesting. I'll see, but we'll see if this fails. If Isagi or Kaiser manages to read this too, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I was spitting. If Kaiser or Isagi manages to read this too, I was spitting. If they don't, I wasn't spitting. Like I was about to give myself an ultimatum. It's like I'm not giving myself an ultimatum. I just wasn't spitting. But let's see. What's the last pass for me? Okay, you see the copying coming in. Oh, interesting. I have a single moment. So interesting. This isn't Rayo Vision. Is this Meta Vision? This is the most complicated I think we've ever seen Rayo sight. That's cool. If he has his own like bootleg version of Meta Vision, I like it. I like it a lot. But let's see. I have a single moment to decide. Since Kaiser came forward, there's space behind him. Which route is best? If I look at this rationally, Isagi is guarding the middle. Best chance is to attack the space behind Kaiser. No, he's calling me. Your dream is that way, isn't it? Okay, so he's having. So these two are having a. Are they both caught off guard here? No, they aren't. So these two are having a Shido and Itoshi moment. Because remember, this is exactly what happened. Itoshi could read where Shido wanted the ball. He could read exactly where he wanted it, and thus he put it right there. He threaded that needle perfectly. But we know Rayo isn't as good as either of the brothers. So let's see if this actually ends up working. Your dream is that way, isn't it? Let's see. Rayo's final pass. Oh, this is the end of the chapter? His final stage. One step away from realizing his dream. All that's left is a 1v1 against Isagi. Matchup. Yes, boss. I mean, like. You're a thunder, bro. You're a thunder. Look at it glowing beautifully. Honestly, you know what? Because of how hyped that was. Now I need to wait for it to shut off before I go into my comments. I was going to do a couple things. Are you done? Are you going to be kind to me? I didn't think so. She's glowing. Yeah, that chapter was peak. I think it was the best chapter of the week. Peak Lock goes crazy. I thought I had waited. Okay, she's glowing still, so I'm not sure if she's gonna make any more noise. I think she's asleep now. And the other baby girl doesn't make noise. So overall, 12 out of 10 chapter. I loved it. It had so much from the continuation of this dynamic, the continued analysis of this dynamic. Truly, well, first let's open up strong, right? Isagi acknowledging that these two are back in sync, acknowledging the fact that these two did have a rough relationship, acknowledging that on an external level, not just an internal level within the previous chapters. Great. Another thing, the consistent submersion in ego. I like it. Constant puzzle piece eyes, constant ghoul, constant paper. I'm still not sure what that chameleon thing is supposed to be. I'm assuming it's just squares, but still, Constant that. I love that artistic detail. It adds so much more to the manga. On top of that, I love the flowing action. The fact that someone who has not played football in years, admittedly I do watch some football, but still, I'm not the most skilled football analyst out there. But the fact that I can feasibly follow the action and break it down, chef's kiss, gorgeous. The full acknowledgement of Reo being a bottom. I mean, Reo being able to submit himself to Nagi's dream. As much as I don't personally agree with it, and I think it's going to fail, it's still good. I love the acceptance. I love the anti-development here, and I can't wait to see it fail, hopefully. Number 2, seeing Nagi's freedom, his happiness, him feeling amazing. Great, wonderful, amazing. I love it. I love seeing characters happy, and I love seeing characters in their element. Nagi is, shockingly enough, spoilers if I ever do a Blue Lock ranking of anything, probably my favorite character. I don't know, Isagi and Nagi are kind of fighting right now in my head just because of how much Isagi's recent development has been popping off. Speaking of popping off in development, the absolute swagger that comes from Nagi here, only to immediately get shut down by these two. The swagger, the dynamic of these two, amazing. I love it. It got me unbelievably hyped. It's great. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Amazing. The acknowledgement from Kaiser. Once again, the fact that Isagi is now a threat. The fact that he has to tell Isagi, get off my ball. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. And finally, the final setup, seeing Reo use his own variation of metavision, opening his eye nice and wide and studying and creating the perfect pass, the perfect scenario that leads to the ultimate 1v1 against the person who abandoned Reo and the person who stole Nagi away. Yes. 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 I'm so hyped for chapter 190. I'm so unbelievably hyped. Where's Shigiri? Shigiri, where are you at, bro? Get your numbers up, dog. I know he's the only one of the other team to score right now. But overall, predictions for next chapter. I think it's going to fail. I for some reason, either like both are immersed in their egos right now. You can see Nagi has the ghoul, Isagi has the puzzle piece eyes. I think it's going to fail, and ironically enough, if it's not Isagi who makes it fail, it's going to be Yukimaya. There's a reason, like we got Corona's interaction in this chapter laid out clear as day, beautiful as all get out. We saw him get mixed. Like this is something we physically see in the chapter. But who else do we see at the start of this chapter who just seemingly disappears off the face of the planet? Yukimaya. And remember, his arc hasn't been mentioned in a little bit, but this still is also his story of dealing with his weakness. So, once again, we already saw this wouldn't be the first time Yukimaya has come out the clutch in this very game and saved against the super serious goal. So, I would not be shocked if it happened again. However, I could see this as being a fusion between... This could be an evolution for Isagi too, though. This 1v1 could make Isagi realize that he needs to get more people in his planetary rotation system. Corona is good, but someone like Yukimaya, getting more people in it, leading more people, would be even better. So, overall, chapter 12 out of 10. Easy, peak, best chapter I've read all week. However, that's what I think. Please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the little notification will miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys know that there's a Patreon down below where you can support for as low as $1 a month. You can get exclusive videos, early content, and more. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.